Hey everyone, what's happening? Welcome to Maych TV. Thank you so much for joining me. Liverpool Football Club. It's been a strange old transfer window so far, hasn't it? And it's one that threatens to get more exciting with every passing moment. So I wrote an article the other week on my new Substack talking about whether it was possible that Liverpool might actually get Ekitiké and Isak, and then backpedaled it massively when obviously Liverpool signed Hugo Ekitiké. Get in, by the way, saying, oh, well, look, I got carried away with a big flight of fancy. And then Alexander Isak basically went on strike at Newcastle, telling them that he wants to leave. And all the rumours are that that's been expanded further to he wants to leave and ... join Liverpool. Will it happen? It remains to be seen. Should we be getting carried away with excitement? Probably not, but at the same time, will we? Yeah, why not? Why not? It's summer. Let's just go wild. Let's just enjoy the rumours while we can. Safe in the knowledge that it feels like Richard Hughes and Arne Slot know what they're doing and perhaps more importantly mean business this summer. And I don't know whether it's just me. Let me know in the comments underneath whether you feel the same, but this is weird, right? This is my starting my 16th year covering Liverpool on YouTube since we started. Redmen, in case you just listen to this. Weird, totally weird. We've had summers where we've obviously done some big business. 2 years ago, Liverpool bought 4 midfielders in one transfer window. That was big. There was a spell between the January and the summer where we bought Diaz, Carvalho and Darwin Núñez, and that was really exciting as well. But nothing quite like this. It feels like old Uncle John's got a bit loopy at the Christmas/summer end of season party, to poor analogy, but bear with me on this one. And he's just, everyone's got that one uncle who you're like, no, we won't. He barely goes the bar for his rounds, but maybe it's like a family wedding and he's just had one too many, and all of a sudden, the wallet is open, the moths have left, and basically the drinks are on him. And old Uncle John Henry here is being very out of character. Now, it's funny on that because it does kind of all circle back to this idea that really it is just about Liverpool spending what they've generated over the years. And I remember us having these hypotheses a number of years ago when Liverpool were on top last time around. We remember the Kylian Mbappe, what will it be? Mbappe 2020, Mbappe 2021, Mbappe 2022, whatever. But a lot of that came from the fact that Liverpool were on this trajectory towards being back at the top table and being able to spend and behave in such a way. And then obviously COVID hit, and then we'll never know. And then look, it feeds into the world of conspiracy theories, and it certainly did. There was not enough evidence to suggest that Liverpool were ever going to head in that direction after it all kind of fell down, I guess. But that's the thing that's kind of most shocking to me. I don't recognise Liverpool's behaviour because I've never seen Liverpool conduct themselves like this. Now, it remains to be seen because, look, I think Florian Wirtz might be the only example we need. And based on 45 minutes of football that I watched in that AC Milan game, anyone who watched him in the Bundesliga consistently be like, yeah, and he's boss. We've all known he's boss for ages, Paul. But I'm like, I didn't really watch him. I've seen the highlights compilations and I've read up on all the sources, and I've the reports were very, very good. Very, very good. But I've heard that before. I've heard good reports. I've had reputable journalists sit on Zoom calls and, in person with me and tell me that certain players were going to be absolutely amazing, and they weren't. They absolutely weren't. I had Rafa Honigstein telling me that Ozan Kabak, Liverpool had got themselves a real steal there and a future star of the centre-back game, and just didn't pan out that way, did it? So, yeah. But 45 minutes of watching Florian Wirtz and you're like, yep, Yep, that's why you spend that money, and that's why it felt at the time very like the kind of thing that Man City would do, or the kind of thing that Real Madrid would do, or obviously not maybe to that kind of financial level previously, but there's a reason why Bayern Munich wanted it, because Bayern Munich shop in the best possible pool they can get at every possible moment, particularly in the Bundesliga. But to see Liverpool do that, Liverpool don't buy stars. Now we've bought plenty of players for whom they were about to have breakout seasons. So the ones that stand out are obviously Luis Suarez and Fernando Torres, and there'll be others. But just for talking's sake, you know, guys who were, again, to use the upward trajectory thing, had been really good. We're at a good level, and we're ready to accelerate that further. There's a chance that Ekitike is a bit more like that. You know, I've said previously that I was worried he was a little undercooked. Time will tell on that one. They obviously think he's really good, because you don't spend £70+ million on a football if you don't think he's going to be really good. Doesn't mean it always works out, and we've got lived examples of that, Darwin being the most recent one, of course. But Ekitike at that age feels like a very traditionally Liverpool FSG signing, albeit, you know, with a huge transfer fee, where hopefully he's ready to absolutely explode, but we'll have to kind of see on that one, and there'll be coaching, and there'll be in building on what he's got. Watching Florian Wirtz, I was just like, yeah, this guy's just absolutely unbelievable. We bought a current absolute superstar, and one who can only get better as well. And I've watched for years Manchester United go and buy players like that, and Real Madrid go and buy players like that, you know, and all these other teams, because in my time following Liverpool have never really been the true tippity top of the table, really. You know, I mean, to be fair, they've won the league 3 times in front of me, you know, in my, you know, sort of, again, lived experience, longer in my lifetime, but only really 2 that I can tell you the context around, and they're the ones that you will all know, the last 2 Premier League titles that we've won. So I'm just not used to seeing Liverpool doing this in any way, shape or form. But this is what you need to do. This is how you do the next thing. Once you get there, was it like a, well done everyone, pat on the back, pat on the head, oh, well done. Wasn't it great that you won a league title? Or was it like, no, we were going to win league titles because we're built to win league titles? All those great platitudes about Liverpool, about, like, you know, how Liverpool exists to win trophies. This is the Liverpool way. It hasn't been the Liverpool way since I've followed Liverpool. Liverpool have been the plucky upstarts, the underdogs, the ones that find the hardest way to win. It's the way that makes you feel great about supporting your football team when you do win things. And my God, you know, compared to Manchester United and, you know, Chelsea and Manchester City in their various Premier League eras, you know, we've really struggled to kind of get to those levels. But I cherish the memories of the way Liverpool have done things, you know, in that time. 92 FA Cup, first FA Cup final, loved it. The treble was just, if you were there, God, 2001 was just, it was a dream. You know, it was an absolute dream of a season. Champions League, Istanbul, greatest Champions League final win of all time. But, like, have you seen that AC Milan team? Have you seen it? Liverpool had no right. And what this feels like right now, and whether we get Isak or not, is kind of, we'll see. But this feels a bit like Liverpool now going, okay, cool. You know, the rise was great, but what happens next? Do we want to go back to being a team that wins a league title once in every 5, that, you know, periodically gets to the Champions League finals? All great, by the way. You know, there are 99% of football clubs that would want to be that, and it's a perfectly admirable thing to want to be, but it's also ambitious to want to be more. And maybe Liverpool, it feels like we've lacked that a little bit at times in my lifetime supporting the club, because we've never been that team. It was 90s Manchester United into the 2000s Manchester United. Arsenal rose to meet them for a bit, but ultimately Arsenal were always playing against themselves to stay in that sort of race. Manchester United were the team with the aura. Arsenal had a, you know, look, Invincibles. I think Invincibles is the greatest Premier League achievement. As much as people try to denigrate it, and fine if you do, but, like, unreal. You know, we Liverpool have shown how hard it is to do that. We nearly did it with much more style twice, but regardless. But yeah, Arsenal were always the team chasing Manchester United. Chelsea had that little spell of dominance and have managed to, establish themselves as an elite level football club and continue to carry the aura of being a really, really top side. You always feel like Chelsea are only ever a couple of seasons from getting back up there, of course. So they might be a slight exception, but and then Man City came along and we were dominant, and then we were the chasing team for Manchester City as well. So, yeah, I feel it seems like that's mission number one. Mission number one last year was get Slot's feet under the table, set the bar, and see how far that could take us. It took us to a league title, outrageously good. The next mission, and this isn't all Slot's mission is to carry on doing that, set the bar on the pitch, train the players, get more out of them, and go and win football matches. But Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards, of course, being back in charge at FSG now, feels like their mission is make sure Liverpool are right at the top table, so that it isn't a flash in the pan, and so that we're no longer the chasing club, that we are now entering that era, whether it's, look, let's hope it's 5 years, let's hope it's 10 years, let's hope we go on a run and win 13 Premier League titles, whatever. Their mission is to make that a thing. Dynasty. We've been talking about building dynasties for ages, and we just never have. The last time Liverpool had a dynasty was the 80s, and that's a long time ago. And I suspect there's a lot of people watching this weren't even born. I was too young to understand it at that point, but close enough to be able to see it and have an understanding of it. And of course, I have cousins and my dads and my uncles who are right on it to learn from it. But yeah, I carry those stories, but I've never really truly experienced them. We came so close and we had so much, and there was a real chance that without COVID, we might have seen Liverpool in this era 5 years ago. It didn't happen. Life's a shithouse. So what? What are we going to do? Not go for it? No. This is the next, feels like we're shifting into the next gear. That's my take on it anyway. And Isak, if Liverpool managed to get him out of Newcastle, and look, there's so many moving pieces to that, isn't there? Aren't there? Newcastle just don't need to sell. When Newcastle's owners are coming out and saying not for sale at any price, they're the kind of people, and this is what happens when the bigwigs at any football club get involved. There becomes a game of egos. Liverpool had this a little bit when the Suarez 40+1 thing from Arsenal, and John Henry's coming out and saying, what are they smoking at the Emirates? Once he did that, there was no chance that he could sell him for that kind of money to that kind of football club. So yeah, it feels tricky. But I've heard it said the Isak situation is really interesting because there will be a lot of agents and a lot of football clubs and a lot of footballers looking at the Newcastle thing and going, okay, so you bring players in, you build them up, cool, but what happens when that dream move comes along? Do you stand in the way of that? And now, to build a football club, you kind of have to do those things. You have to hold on to your best players and improve, but Newcastle aren't there yet. And maybe that'll come, and maybe that comes with them holding on to Isak, who knows? But it does feel like, logically, sell Isak, get yourself a clutch of new players and really establish Newcastle as a top 4, top 5 football team, and then thank him for his service and remember the good times, but there'll be new heroes off the production line. God knows Liverpool have had to do that for years, and that's what I mean. You've got to get to that stage before you can get to the stage after that. You've got to walk before you can run, and Newcastle have really struggled with that. Liverpool feel, again, to me, prepared to make that next step, and Isak would be another huge, signal of intent. Do we need more strikers? Who knows? No one really nailed the job down last season. They all had a really good go in their own ways. I really want Isak. I won't be devastated if we don't get him. I'm really excited to see Ekitike, and I'm interested to see what else Liverpool do in the market, because there are still some holes to be filled. We've seen it again against AC Milan. We need to probably get a defender in. That would help immeasurably. But yeah, Why not? Look, it's summer, it's the transfer window. I love it, I really, really do. Why not get excited at the prospect without getting to that position where you just do your own head in and get really sad and annoyed if it doesn't come off, because look, so far so good. Signing Wirtz on his own would have been enough to make Liverpool a much better team this season. And the other businesses we've done, the full-backs, great. If we can add a centre half and another guy to play in the attacking lineup, then it could be very, very exciting regardless. But the big takeaway for me so far is Liverpool seem to be behaving in a manner that I am unaccustomed to, but it's one that I could grow very accustomed to, because it feels, like Liverpool are behaving like a big boy, and that is very, very good indeed. I've expanded on this. I'm shooting from the hip a little bit on this. This is my last day of holiday. Me and my dad are flying out to Japan after this to go and watch Liverpool versus Yokohama, hopefully see Ekitike and Florian Wirtz in the flesh, and I will report back on all of that. Some amazing stuff over on the Redmen channel. Just lastly though, thank you so much to everyone who's joined my Substack. It is a bit different from the things I've been doing, but also not really, because I've published Liverpool books before. There's loads of Liverpool writing on there, just kind of following through the summer transfer window, giving my thoughts and takes, and some bits of weirdness in there as well. It is called Maych Publishing. The link is in the description underneath if you want to go and check it out. That's great. You can subscribe for free. My aim is to do one big Liverpool article a month. I'm on like 5 or 6 free ones at this point, because I'm just enjoying the process of it all. There is a paywall element. I haven't started with the paywall content on that yet, so it's a bit of a leap of faith or a leap of support or whatever, if you want to support the channel and the Substack, and it's all kind of one harmonious thing, aiming to support, make better content and all that kind of stuff as well, and books and all that kind of stuff. So to challenge myself ultimately. So if you want to become part of the wider Maych TV community, then you can subscribe for free or you can subscribe for paid, but please don't put yourself out. It's absolutely fine. It's just a thing to shock back into all of this. So yes. Anyway, are you excited by what Liverpool have done so far? Do you think we'll get Alex Isak? Let me know in the comments section underneath. And yes, I'm going to go for one last dip and then head to pre-season. Woo.